These roller coasters are actually scary.
And there's lists all over the internet that claim that they've got the list of the scariest, most dangerous, death-defying roller coasters, and it's like a B&M dive.
Yeah, it's like, no, you don't. That you're showing like a skyrocket too.
Yeah.
That is not scary at all. We, as enthusiasts, are not typically scared of roller coasters. Like, we're well-traveled people. We've ridden a lot of roller coasters.
Yeah, but most of them aren't scary. There are some that are like visually like, whoa, kind of daunting.
But when you ride it, we're having fun.
Yes.
We're talking parts where there is a specific, even just a moment where you're on that ride and you're like, oh crap, like this is actually
scary.
This is daunting.
Yes.
So this was actually something that we had to really think about. Because
maybe you did. I was like, I got him right off the bat.
I had to think about this one. Because, again, like the types of rides that maybe are a bit more intimidating to me are not typically roller coasters.
So as enthusiasts, we're going to try to actually give you a list of roller coasters we believe have a little spook factor to them.
So I'll go through 6 of them. You go through your 6, and let's see what the people think of them. I don't know. I thought these were pretty intimidating in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, all right. Why don't you go first? Tell us your first roller coaster you thought of when we were talking about this.
This was really easy. As soon as the topic came up, I'm like, X2. X2, I don't care who you are. That is a scary freaking roller coaster. Especially your first ride.
It's daunting.
That was the first time in my life as like an enthusiast that I actually was like trembling before getting on this ride. Woo, baby.
It is ridiculously tall, and you go up the lift hill backwards, so you can't really see the top until you're there, and you realize just how high off the ground you are. And then you don't know how you're gonna rotate, you don't know what those transitions are gonna feel like. It's a lot. I feel like your facial expression on your first ride said it all.
I think I came off sucking my thumb like a
You
baby.
did.
There you go. That's all the proof you need. Yeah, I was totally a wimp, but I did it, and I didn't love it. But not because it was scary, because it was very uncomfortable.
Okay, but you've now since done it multiple times. Does the ride still scare you?
Yes.
When I try and pinpoint a singular moment on any roller coaster where I was, like, my heart was pounding like crazy and I wasn't sure how this was going to feel, it was by far the launch on Dododampa at Fuji-Q in Japan. This ride is ridiculous, but it's just the launch. This is one that like actually is closed at the moment, and it's been closed for a while because people got injured on this thing.
People were literally breaking their bones.
This is the world's fastest acceleration, and you go from like 0 to it's over 100 miles per hour in 1.8 seconds.
That's insane.
It is unbelievable. It's like being shot out of a gun. The rest of the roller coaster, not scary at all. You're fine. But like sitting there on that launch track and like building up for it where you're waiting in the queue and you're in the station, my heart was pounding harder than it ever has on any roller coaster. Period.
Next one on my personal list of scary roller coasters were the Mauer Sky Loops. I've only done one. That was the one at Linnamaki. It's not like a big layout or anything, but it's the sensation of like hanging with just that thing over your lap.
Just a small lap bar.
For a long time.
And it doesn't feel the same as the Skyrocket 2s.
No, it's not like hang time. It's like dangling to your doom.
While this roller coaster itself is not really scary, the location is what makes this one. This is Cliffhanger at Glenwood Cavern. So I think this is the world's highest elevated roller coaster. It's literally on top of a mountain. And the part in particular on this ride that is freaky is when you start cresting over the lift. Because of the way it's positioned, right when you get over, that's when you get your drop. And so it's just like mountains all around, and then there's the drop off right below. So it doesn't go over the edge, but the fact that it gets that close, like, you know, you're twisting the side to go the other direction around, but it's like that split moment when you're like, I hope this thing is sturdy.
Speaking of sturdiness, I don't think this one's sturdy. It's Hurricane at Fun Spot Kissimmee in Orlando. Oh my gosh. The turn radius that you take on that roller coaster,
unbelievable.
It feels like you're going to just right over the edge.
Like people always talk about Wild Mouse coasters like, oh, I thought it was gonna like fly off the track.
No,
this
is
one,
worse.
It takes it and smushes it into an even tighter space, and the fact that it's like, it's a little flimsy looking, you know?
A little?
It's got some jank to it, you know? That's what makes it fun, but...
It is so much fun. I won't even lie. It's super duper fun to ride, but like...
You hit some of those, you rise up and you're like, oh, are we gonna clear this? Oh, all right, this time we did.
Yeah.
All right, we're good.
Yeah, that is a legitimately like spooky experience. But that's why, you know, you got to walk around and have a few drinks first before you get on.
That is a fun spot. The next attraction I thought of, this is a very old ride. So we know it's safe. It's been thrilling guests for over 100 years. But every time you hit the double down on Jackrabbit, I think I'm a goner. Like, you have
absolutely
a tiny little seatbelt. That's your primary restraint. And most of the ride is so mild. It is so unbelievably tame. But as you start climbing up the lift hill and you're making your turn, like, it's like, oh gosh, here comes the double down, and then you're in the back, and then it's just
well, the first time I rode it, I didn't know about the double down. So I was just like, you guys like didn't tell me on purpose.
Well, yeah, of course. I can't ruin it. Hey.
So going off of that one with another wooden roller coaster that makes you fear for your life, that is Rutsjebanen at Tivoli Gardens in Denmark.
It's basically the double down on Jackrabbit, but like the whole ride.
Yeah, like over and over and over and over and over again.
And we're talking, this is the third oldest roller coaster in the world.
Yeah.
It's still operating, you know? So again, this thing, totally safe, but there's not really much of a restraint at all.
No, and the thing is, since it's like Europe, they kind of just like expect you to just put your own restraint down. Like at one point we were like getting settled in and they had already started moving it and our lap bar was not even
and we're like
down.
And they're like, oh, just push it down as we're like making the turn to go up the lift. So it's like, all right, okay.
I don't even know if you'd make it off that ride. That's how crazy the airtime is.
It is wild.
Push that lap bar down, y'all.
Yeah, man, that's a freaky roller coaster, but it's so much fun.
Yeah,
like,
but the first time you ride it, it will scare the pants off of you.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
A roller coaster that was very intimidating for me to experience for the first time was Schwerdeskarnen at Hansa Park.
And this is the part where I'm going to exit really quick. I'm going to go just stand outside because I do not want this ride spoiled for me. So, you're on your own, champ. I'll see you in a minute. Just give me a little holler when you're ready.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. There's your spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about what this ride does. So, first of all, when you're approaching this roller coaster, you can't see actually how tall it is because the lift hill and drop is enclosed in this massive tower. And so it's already very ominous feeling. And then, as you start climbing up the lift hill, you know, you're in the dark, they have the music going, it's like super intense, and then you stop, and you're like, why are we stopped? And then you freaking drop backwards down the lift hill. Like, I've never seen any other ride do that, and then it catches you before you hit the bottom, and then you go all the way back up, and then go through your drop. So, like, the main core of the layout that you see outside, not scary at all. It's that intimidation factor if you're walking up and you're like, wow, this thing is like really, really big. It's over 200 feet tall. And then knowing what the ride does before the drop, that's what I was intimidated by. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to feel. This is the only roller coaster in the world that does anything like this. Yeah, it was freaky. But after experiencing it for the first time, totally fine for the rest of the experiences. It's just that first time that you're going to ride it. Hey, you can come back in.
Did I miss anything interesting?
Yes, actually, you missed the part about carnival.
So circling back to Denmark, we're gonna visit a lovely little park called Bakken that had the lovely Intamin spinning coaster, Tornado.
Only one like it, and there's a reason for that.
To be fair, the layout itself is not scary per se. It is the way that the train goes through said layout that makes it terrifying.
You weren't even scared walking up to the attraction.
No.
You were scared as you were on it, experiencing it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can kind of see a shift if you watch the on-ride reaction, which we're probably going to put on right now. You can see me and Yannick's faces turn from just like very casual, relaxed, like, cool, we're on a spinning coaster to, oh my God, what? It was terrifying.
Like, is this safe?
Yeah, well, I felt like everything kind of rocking around in a way that I'm not used to. Mm-hmm. And I was like afraid that I was going to snap in half. The
important thing to mention here is that we did this in boost mode. Yeah. And that's what you're referring to. So, Tornado boost mode, yeah, that's kind of scary. The ride not in boost mode, not as much.
I think now if you're watching this video and you go and do the ride in boost mode, I don't know if you'll feel that fear because you've seen us ride it and you're watching us talking about it.
We had not seen anything about it.
We knew nothing. We didn't know that it was going to do that. I just thought, I'm like, it's a spinning coaster.
It's like whatever.
But it's intimate and I should have known better.
One of the roller coaster models that freaks out the GP is the Wild Mouse because it's those hairpin turns and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, are we going to make it over? It's kind of what I was talking about earlier, but
they're brake city.
Yes.
You're always riding the brakes.
You're slowing down and then you're making the turn. So the one that was freaky to us was Wild Mouse XXL, which makes the German fair circuit. So this is a ride that, first of all, is getting constantly torn down, rebuilt, moved to the next location, and then this thing does not slow you down at all.
There are no brakes
during the ride. This thing just cruises through these switchbacks, and it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
The ride is huge. That's why it's called Wild Mouse XXL, because this ride is bigger than any Wild Mouse I think I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, and like we're not joking around. There are like no brakes until the end, basically. Like you don't slow down on those turns at all, and like I'm pretty sure I was screaming bloody murder the whole experience. That is a ride, like normally it's like, oh, turn the brakes off. I'm like, turn them on!
It's like,
put them on!
You're like, now I understand why these Wild Mouse coasters are trimmed to death.
Going back to Magic Mountain, there's another roller coaster there that at least I find to be somewhat scary.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, that's Tatsu. And I understand that it is just a B&M flyer, but at the same time, it is not just a B&M flyer. It is like
massive.
Like the only actual part of the ride that made me scared was that pretzel loop.
Which is justifiable.
Yes, like when you're coming up to that element and you see it approaching, like I literally was like, my heart was pounding like crazy, and I don't get that typically.
There's so much going on.
I'm like picking at my nails just like thinking about that pretzel loop. Like
you're
it
just
is
like,
because it's also rough. So like you're feeling all those positive G's and you're like shaking. It's like
So that brings us to the final roller coaster on this list, and this one I feel like isn't entirely fair because this is not really it's a real roller coaster, but it was handmade by one dude in Indiana. I'm talking about the Blue Flash. This is a backyard roller coaster with a loop, and that's all you need to know. A backyard coaster made by one dude, and it has a vertical loop. Yeah, that's terrifying.
I've seen the footage.
That was
it
scary.
looks like it'll break your neck.
It felt like that.
I feel like it should have a neck brace that you wear. That would fix that problem.
I mean, there's a reason that this is not an attraction that's open to the public. You know, this is something that, like, only a handful of people ever rode. It looks sketchy. It is sketchy. But that's the novelty of it, you know? It was not built by a professional engineer. Going up the lift hill, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to feel because I've never done anything remotely close to this at all.
And I think what's interesting is, like, most backyard roller coasters don't look like they would be spooky. Like, they're usually very just like, wee.
Most of them are made out of wood, and they just have, like, an airtime hill or something. Go around, like, a small little layout.
This guy's, like, unhinged. He's like, I'm going to create the tightest little vertical loop ever, and hopefully no one breaks their neck.
I don't think I would do it again. I don't even think I can. I don't even think it's still in operation. Because they
thank
moved
God.
it to Ohio.
I don't wanna
to
get
Haunted
forced onto
Hoochie,
that.
and it's just sitting there as, like,
Wait.
a model.
Haunted Hoochie?
Yeah, that's the name of it. Anyway, so if it's still there, then you can visit Haunted Hoochie just outside of Columbus and go look at the Blue Flash, which is a great monument to that crazy creation.
I'm sorry, I'm so immature. So there you have it, guys. 12 roller coasters that are actually scary in some regard. Now, I'm sure there's people in the comments like, none of these are scary. I'm an enthusiast. Okay, fine. This is our opinion, that there are some roller coasters that even if you ride 1,000, like this guy over here, there are some that will still spook you sometimes.
Well, and I think what's interesting about this list is that there are different moments where you feel that fear. So sometimes it's when you're walking up to the attraction. Sometimes it's right before you hit a specific part. I don't know.
Sometimes it's afterward when you have nightmares about it, X2.
It's like not all cut and dry, you know? So I think that's like what makes it unique and cool is that each of these have specific parts that make it terrifying in its own way. And if we find it scary, then I can only imagine what the public thinks of some of these. So let us know down in the comments below, what are the scariest roller coasters you've ridden, if any? Or is there a specific moment from an attraction that got you a little nervous?
Or are you too tough and nothing scares you?
Hey, it's okay to admit when something's spooking you. I think that's totally...
Everything spooks me.
It's totally fine.
Everything.
All right, well, I don't know about that.
I'm a total wimp.
Thank you guys for joining us for this video. Make sure to stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios. And we'll see you next time.
Boo!
That didn't scare me.
I'll try again later.